I don't feel like I work a day in my life. I play every day. But I also get to help many, many people, and I get to help them understand their skin, their needs, and a lot of other things as well, because I don't just treat them for their skin, I treat them holistically as well.
All right, welcome to the Aussie Ambitions podcast. We've got our guest today. Her name's Lindy-Lou Taylor. How are you, Lindy?
I'm well, thank you.
Excellent. Very good. So Lindy's from Purple Door Beauty, and that's it's got a whole range of services, and I'll let her introduce it, but she is living and working on Mt Tamborine, which is kind of a unique spot in Queensland. It's not far from the Gold Coast. So for anybody not familiar, just definitely check out Mt Tamborine and some of the fine things it has to offer. But I'll just turn it over to you, Lindy. Could you tell us a bit about yourself?
Well, I have been in the industry for nearly 30 years. I enjoy what I do. I don't feel like I work a day in my life. I play every day. But I also get to help many, many people, and I get to help them understand their skin, their needs, and a lot of other things as well, because I don't just treat them for their skin, I treat them holistically as well.
Okay. So we just we had a good look, and we got in touch basically just by looking at who's doing some cool, interesting things on the Gold Coast from different walks of life and maybe different industries. So, my background's tends to be working with a lot of small business clients, and tends to actually be with people that book appointments. So naturally, I feel some relation to what you're doing and what you've got to work with. Would you say your business is highly geared around appointments and scheduling?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Definitely. You usually try and leave a couple of spots a day where you can just fit people in who ring up at the last minute, but it's really hard because every treatment is a different time length, so you really have to schedule people in and book them in, and it's a necessity.
Okay. So what might be fun, again, for our listeners listening in, this is probably the first time we've had someone that can take us through a little bit about what life is like to run a beauty-based business, and there'll be lots of aspects to it. Just if we can start with the origins of it, do you have a background in, what's the background in beauty and beauty therapy? Is it an educational process where you need to go through some certification?
You do. You need a certificate, and then there's also the diploma. The diploma actually, it just gives you a little bit more knowledge, and I do prefer the diploma. But when you're learning, it's not just an easy thing. It's like a 12-month course, full-time, 2 years part-time. So you are learning a lot. It's a lot of practical as well as theory, and you have to pass a lot of exams to get through.
Okay. And do you see that as a good thing for the industry, as like the quality is assured if I was a consumer, I'm going to pay for a service, am I assured of some standard?
Yes. Oh, yes, definitely. Because unfortunately these days you can buy product over the internet, like eBay and all that sort of stuff, and you can buy your own little facial rollers and things like that, but you have no background knowledge of what that's actually doing to your skin. And if you do too much, you can actually harm yourself with it without realizing. It's not going to heal properly. If you do it too small, it's not actually going to work. Microdermabrasion is another thing. If you use the wrong tip and the wrong pressure, you can actually do some damage, and I've seen people bruise themselves with it. And your skin doesn't recover the same. So yes, you do need that knowledge behind you to actually understand what you're doing to your clients.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you sharing the detail on that. And I guess every country would have their own, educational system and different approval standards and so on. I guess from the business side, is it the type of thing where people that are trained immediately go into business for themselves, or is there some middle step?
No, unfortunately, you can actually go from college to open your front door and say, hey, I'm a beauty therapist, come and see me. It would be great if you actually had an apprenticeship And that's what some of the people in the industry are trying to put forward, because it actually gives you that middle step where you're learning, you're going to college, you're learning on the job, and it's just like a hairdressing apprentice. You're just learning constantly. And once you've done your time and you're qualified, then you can go ahead and do what you would like to do, what you choose to do, whether it work in the industry with someone else or work for yourself.
Okay. Well, that's good to make that parallel, because there'd be some other industries that have, similar in a sense. You get a trade and you can go independent. You can probably join some kind of franchise group.
Yes.
And there's so there can be some parallels. I just wanted to perhaps paint the picture for being relatable in this industry in terms of who are the main. What does it look like in terms of the main demographics? So you got male and female.
Okay. As a client or as a beauty therapist?
Let's start as a client, just so we could go there.
Yeah. Pretty much generally it's female. Although there are more and more males understanding that they're an Australian son. They need to look after their skin. So that is slowly coming through. But yeah, it's pretty much female.
Okay. And then life stage, would they be doing preventative stuff, or it's mostly later in life corrective?
A bit of both. But the knowledge is starting to seep through that you need to protect it so that you can gracefully grow older. And those that haven't are mostly those in their 60s and 70s, and they didn't know what sunscreen was, particularly 80-year-olds. And I have a couple of 80-year-old clients, and they want their skin to be looked after now, which is wonderful because it stops it from getting so paper thin. It helps to keep the skin healthy, but also there is a lot of sun damage there, and that's preventable if you start early enough.
Okay, so that tackles the question of the Australian sun. Well, not even the sun, but it's mostly around the UV exposure.
It is the UV.
And the UV index, if
Yes.
I've got that. So just yourself being Aussie, pretty much born and raised, is that something you're aware of from an early age, around the UV index?
Yeah, absolutely. I was covered in bronze zinc from head to toe because I have one of those lovely pure white skins that goes bright red and blisters. So I was very aware of it from a very, very early age. But I think my mum also was aware of it as well, because myself and my siblings were all covered in sunscreen anytime we walked out the door, just about. And I've done the same with my own son. Every time he's gone outside, it was like, yeah, okay, pump before you go.
Pump before you go. Okay, we'll hang on to that tagline. And certainly in the schools too. So I've seen that they're pretty clear about the requirements, and just staying on that. So maybe it's best to come from you. But what happens in the school systems in terms of protecting kids from UV? Is it you got the?
They're not allowed out for their lunchtime. If they forget their hat, they're not allowed to go out and play. There's no playtime. If they go to exit the classroom, I know in my son's classrooms, he always had sunscreen, sunscreen, and they had to put it on themselves, on their faces and on their arms before they left the classroom for break, and for sport. But yeah, no hat, no play was the regulations there. And then on sports days and things, they have actually, a lot of the schools now have those cabana things, and the kids all have to sit under them. They're not allowed to go out and play while the sport's actually been happening. They're only allowed to go out and do their particular race and then come back and sit under the shade and stuff like that these days. Very different from when I was a kid. We didn't have any shade.
Yeah, so that's a positive, right? I've seen that too. It's
wonderful.
It's generally people that aren't from Australia who come here that maybe are just learning that.
Yes.
And they experience the, maybe from a scientific point of view, I'm not sure about relative index, like other countries would have high index as well, and it's just about
closer to the equator. Yeah.
And then so obviously in your profession there would be basically we're dealing with skin and medical. It borders on medical in some cases. Do you get close to the line there where you...
Oh, I've sent many a client off to the doctors. Anything that I think looks suspicious, I just say go get it checked out. As a beauty therapist, you cannot diagnose. That's not your job. But you can send them off in the right direction. And I have had many clients come back and say, thank you. That was an SCC, or yes, it was all BCCs. They've scraped them all off. It's all good. And one lovely client years ago, she actually had a melanoma, and it was the tiniest little dot you've ever seen. And it come up on just on the base of a cheek near her ear, and it wasn't there the last time I'd done her facial. And I said, look, you've just got a spot that's come up and it's quite dark. Go get it checked. She didn't for a couple of months, and then she forgot about it. Life gets hold of you. And she eventually got to the doctors, and she ended up all cut out down through here.
Amazing.
Yeah. So that I was really grateful for. She was too. But I was really grateful that she actually went and did get it checked out. And I have many that when they come for a massage, you check their back. And if you see anything different, especially with your regular clients, you check their face, you check their back while you're doing your treatment. And if there's anything different, they can't see their back. And they look at their face every day. So they're not going to notice anything that slowly comes up. Whereas you see them once a month or once every 6 weeks or once every 3 months. You'll notice, oh, hang on, this wasn't there last time.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, that's great, and I think it's really it's the reality of it, and either you can...
It's the Australian reality.
It's the Australian reality. That's really clear. And we mentioned before, just roughly, so the business is Purple Door Beauty.
Yes.
But there's a holistic aspect, or at least ambition in that direction.
Yes.
Could you take us through just a bit about, I mean, yourself, you're a sole practitioner, right? Like
yes, I am.
You don't have a huge enterprise
No.
or staff that you've got to bring in, not yet.
It's just me.
How do you feel about, is there ambitions there to stay as a single operator, or would your life be easier if you had more help?
Definitely easier. Definitely easier. Yes, I'd like to have people who specialise in their areas helping me. But all of us sort of melding together and just, can't think of the word, but just sort of supporting each other and being able to supply complete holistic treatment from head to toe.
Okay, so it's like
inside and out.
That's inside and out. I see. Okay, I'm starting to get the picture where it's more than just skin deep. It's perhaps other aspects, health, maybe diet. I'm just guessing.
You can't have good skin and eat an unhealthy diet. I mean, some people are very blessed that way, but generally not.
That's a good point. There is a question of genetics I had in the back of my mind, thinking, yes, some people are blessed.
That way. They are.
But we were having a good chat earlier about just the idea of this collaboration, or a bit of like a holistic. It may not be just your business; it might be other people that are in the space, and it's just a friendly. I don't know. It's a collaboration, but it's just almost like a handover, or someone's familiar with the client and they're trusting to expand that into another area, which is, you can decide where to draw the line.
Yeah.
Could you just take us through some of the areas that you might cover? I think we mentioned that earlier, but maybe not from a technical point of view, but what service, like how are you helping people with their beauty, and what?
Me personally?
Just the business, like what is it? How is it helping people in their...
Okay. So
I think weddings was the one that we were sort of getting into, and then that sort of went quite broad. So just...
so I'm a makeup artist of many years as well, and hairstylist. I'm not a hairdresser. I'm just a hairstylist now. I just style the hair. I don't cut and tint or anything like that. And then the makeup artistry side of it, I actually do a lot of weddings up on Mt Tamborine. It's the mecca for southeast Queensland for weddings, and there are many, many weddings up there every year, and it's a beautiful place to get married. It's so much cooler than down here.
Temperature-wise.
Temperature-wise, definitely. But yeah, so I do a lot of the wedding makeup and hair, and then sometimes they'll come and get their skin prepped as well. So they'll have a few facials beforehand. I'll do the tinting for their lashes and their brows so that it just gives them a better quality of photo on the day as well. And particularly their skin, because quite often the brides, poor things, get quite stressed. And when you get stressed, you get pimples. So, yeah. And then sort of recommend that, if they're into meditation, definitely go do some meditation. If they're into yoga, go get a couple of extra classes just to bring that stress level down. And that's the holistic side of things. So being able to recommend to them what might help them and find out what they enjoy doing and help to get their stress levels down. And that's the wedding side of it.
I see. I'm just thinking, is that the first time they've been exposed to that kind of that's quite innovative, I would say, in a sense of, have they heard of that before? Or are they a bit
No,
surprised?
Some haven't. They're quite surprised. And they're surprised that I've got some knowledge in those areas. I don't think they realise my background. So that sort of helps having a background in natural therapies as well. Because you can sort of recommend, look, you could try this, you could try that, or what do you enjoy doing, and sort of go from there, find out what they like.
Okay, wow. Again, back to the maybe the business side of things, but is there a recurring nature to the business? People would be coming back, I imagine, often, or maybe even sometimes urgently. That they need something, or is it like that? Is it?
Yeah, it can be.
I need your help immediately.
Yes, help! I've got family coming, and I need to get rid of my hairy lip. And stuff like that. Yeah, definitely.
Does that add a bit of fun to the business? Like how much?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm very blessed and very grateful for the lovely comments that I get left on my website, on my my Facebook page as well. People seem to enjoy coming, and it's nice. We can have a laugh. They can have a bit of de-stress and giggle. It doesn't matter what type of waxing I'm doing from head to toe. They'll still giggle through it. And yeah, it's really nice. And they hopefully leave feeling a little bit less stressed and a little bit lighter.
Wow.
Physically as well as mentally.
Yeah. Well, and obviously this is in the sense of a little bit putting my marketing hat on a little bit, but about how you go with promoting this type of a business, or do you even bother? Is it just word of mouth and happiness there?
I haven't had time. I honestly haven't had time. My promotion goes to popping on things on Facebook, and that's pretty much it. I used to have a local ad in the local paper. I did that for a while, but found that I didn't really get much there. And to be honest, most of it is word of mouth.
Okay.
And I am beyond grateful for that. I really am.
Excellent. Well, it sounds like a great success story in a sense of being self-made and enjoying that link between your interest and that rewarding, like you're delivering and helping people truly.
Yeah, I hope so.
Is there a point there where the balance becomes a little bit, you're helping people, but it takes a step away from your free time and a step away from maybe other pursuits, like could be anything really. Where do you feel you fit on that spectrum of not having enough time?
You do have to manage your time. If you aren't rejuvenated at least once a week, you can't help people. So you have to have some downtime and some relaxation and just some rejuvenation for yourself. So some weeks I'll work 6 days a week, and I don't have a problem with that. But then I've got to have a little break, and I'll do 2 or 3 days off and just have a bit of downtime and just regroup, and then I can go off and do my fun thing again. But yeah, if you don't look after yourself, you can't look after other people. And it's really, really important for females to understand that. Any age.
Yeah, that's it. I think a lot of listeners would be, could be from the female audience where they would be perhaps career transition, in a day job looking to try something new, could be creating a YouTube channel, could be lots of things.
And they're still a mum. They've got a mum hat, they've got a work hat, they've got a business hat, and they've got a hat they go hide under. And that hat they go hide under is their absolute peacetime. And that's what they need to have, that little hat too.
That's wonderful. Did you see you're a mother as well?
I am.
Okay. And is there, I'm always interested in succession planning, I guess probably the fancy way of saying, but it's like generational transfer. So, you're building something, you built something already. Do the kids have an interest in any aspects of this business?
My son, no. I only have one
Okay,
child, my
right.
son.
Okay.
And no, he's not interested, but he likes to help me try and market, and he gives me ideas, but he won't come and do it for me. He won't sit down and do it for me.
Oh, that's something.
Yeah, but he goes, "Oh, Mum, you should do this." Yeah, well, you do it for me. No, you should do it. I don't have time. Come on, buddy.
That's
But
interesting.
yeah, he comes up with some great ideas.
That's neat.
He does.
I think it is a bit of a luxury. Like, I think that might be the case for a lot of family businesses where maybe the kids aren't going to naturally take it over, but maybe at least they have an appreciation for the hard work that was put in.
He does. He does. I think to the point where even though he's working at the moment, I think he would like to work for himself because he can see the enjoyment that I get out of it.
That's what I was hoping to learn something from that. Is he of age? Like, is he over 20 or?
He's 22.
20, okay.
Yeah.
And does he talk to you about his goals? Like,
Yeah.
in terms
Absolutely. Yeah.
what's your feeling for that generation of I don't know, call it kids, but I mean that generation.
millennials.
Yeah, millennials. Do you feel like there's a clear path to employment there, or is there a bit of like they need to be
It's an individual thing,
pursuing things? Yeah.
honestly. It really is an individual thing because some of his friends, they know exactly what they want to do. Others don't have a clue. And others are still testing the waters, trying a bit of this, trying a bit of that, and seeing what fits. And it really is an individual thing. You can't really put them all in one little category.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. I think, and is he Mount Tamborine, born and raised? Maybe not born and raised, but long time Mount Tamborine.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, he went to school there.
Okay.
Yeah.
It might be fun just to hear you describe it briefly, just if you were to summarize what it's like. Obviously, you mentioned the climate. It's sort of on the top of a mountain.
It is. I can't remember. I think it's 3,000 feet or meters. I can't remember.
I'll check that out.
It's pretty high. Not as high as Toowoomba though. And we do have about a 5-degree temperature difference in summer, so we are approximately 5 degrees cooler. Our days average around about the 24 to 26 degrees, so 25 degrees in summer, and about 18, 19 of a night time. So there's a big difference in the temperature drop of a night time from up the mountain to down on the coast. And it's rainforest, and it's just beautiful. And there are many rainforest walks you can go on. There's some gorgeous falls you can see. The best time to go is actually a day after it's rained. All the water slowly comes through, and then all the falls start to run. And it's just magical. It really is. Curtis Falls and Cedar Creek Falls are the two most popular. But there's also another one called Witches Falls. And it's a bit of a hairy walk, but it's worth the walk to go and have a look.
Oh, fantastic. And like you were mentioning earlier, I think during our chat, was that it's not necessarily, for those who are from overseas and want to visit, it's definitely on the list. But even locals, or not even locals, but Brisbane and other surrounding cities,
Yes.
they're taking the time to
Yes, they are.
come there.
Especially with COVID, there's not a lot of places to go that are like within driving distance. And it's like half an hour from Southport, and it's about 40 to 45 minutes from Brisbane, depending on where you live. So it's a great day out. And there's Gallery Walk, which has got all the cafes and the quirky little art shops and things like that along there. And then you've got the Main Street, which is the locals' Main Street. And it's like a little village. It's got the pharmacy, the doctors, the supermarket, the little supermarket, the optometrist, and then a few local cafes that not a lot of tourists go to. It's got quite a few little bonuses there, little hidden gems.
Yeah, one of the things you mentioned earlier was about the even within the business community, smaller. It's a tight knit. Sounds like people are there and invest their time and buy local, and a lot of those things can really help. But
Yes.
even within that, it's almost like a supportive network where you might give a referral or partner up to
Yes.
host an event or something like that.
Yes, quite often. There's a lot of Airbnb up there as well as normal B&B. And there's a couple of motels up there as well. And then with the wedding industry, you'll often find you'll get phone calls saying, "Oh, do you know where we can stay? We've tried here, here, and here." And I often get brides go, "Where can we stay? I need to put mother-in-law to be somewhere, or I need to put great aunt so-and-so somewhere. And so you can actually shoot them off into the different little areas because it's a small community. There's only about 7,000 people up there at the moment. And in the industry, you get to know everybody.
That's pretty unique, but it's a positive,
It is.
non-competitive type of
I've not found it
environment.
competitive, no.
Are there other people in the beauty industry that
Yes.
have a similar service?
Yeah, definitely. There's a couple of spas up there, and they're both lovely. Blissage and Getaway Day Spa, they're both very nice. And there's a few other beauty therapists up there as well. But there's enough for everybody.
Would you be a client? Or I'm just curious, as you go around your daily life or even travel, do you treat yourself to these services and treatments just as a bit of an experience?
I did mention that you've got to look after yourself, otherwise you can't look after other people. And yes, I do. There's Tranquil Massage run by my friend Deborah, and we actually swap services, which is wonderful. So I'll give her a massage, she'll give me a massage, and I'll give her a facial. But if she doesn't have time, I'm happy to pay her as well. Her massage is wonderful. And at the spas, you can go and have a facial and, have a treat and sit in the spa and have a relax and take your girlfriends and have a good time.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And so some of the, I guess, the lifestyle aspects, is there any struggle that you have either just now or that's gotten to this point that was sort of just thinking in the business context of things like, I don't know, your website needs updating or something like that?
Yes. Yeah, I did. I literally, as I said before, just updated the website yesterday, and that's been a bit glitchy, but that's okay. These things happen. It's sort of something, a learning curve. And I found that it's, you can't, I'm a home-based business, so I can't actually put my address on there because I don't want people turning up at my door when they don't have an appointment and I'm working on somebody and I can't actually treat two people at the one time, clearly. So that was one glitch that we had to overcome. Putting a suburb, not the address.
Interesting.
That was fun.
So you still have the scheduling challenge of getting people back to back. You wouldn't take back-to-back appointments, I guess.
Actually, with COVID, we have to allow time to clean in between. We have to vacuum, we have to mop, we have to change all the linen, we have to spray all the doors down, spray everywhere where a client is touched, everything like that. And even now, they haven't said not to stop, not to do it, to stop doing it. So I still do it. So you've got to allow yourself a good 15 minutes in between clients. And have a glass of cold tea that was hot a couple of hours ago.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, we're talking about taking a break at some point. Just to, I guess, be clear on the COVID situation. Yeah, I mean, Australia is fortunate to have come through most of it. I know it's not the case in a lot of the places at the moment. Sometimes there's been mask requirements, but it's generally short-lived. Everyone's trying to do the right thing, so I think people are just trying to be smart about it. And it hasn't been too heavy-handed in terms of imposing requirements on people. But as you can understand, any kind of transfer, there's touch, and it's probably just good business practice, probably for a lot of businesses, hygiene.
Well, it's nothing more than what we weren't. Well, it is more, but it's not out of what we were doing before.
Makes sense.
Before COVID, we were still changing all the linen, and we're pretty much mopping in between, especially if you're doing a pedicure or a manicure. You're cleaning in between clients pretty much every time anyway. There's not a lot of difference. It's just a little bit more excessive than what it was before. And there's probably more wiping down of all the handles and where clients have touched more so than everything else. Yeah.
Nice. So just be interesting to see if you had any advice for some of the people that are just starting out. Or is there a network of, people in the beauty industry outside of Mt Tamborine, like more at a professional level? Is there a newsletter that you get from a national body?
There's a few forums on Facebook that I follow. One's Beauty Industry with Tamara Reid, and one's APAN. And they're the two main ones that I follow because they are the ones that are usually right up to date with all the information, no matter what it be. It could be just something local or it could be something Australia-wide. And they are two really good ones to get onto and keep up to date with everything.
All right. Well, that's good for people in Australia. And then anything, I'm not sure if you follow trends and things around the world, or if, because in the world of makeup, I can imagine there's maybe different, not treatments, but a look.
Yes.
Is that fair to say? I'm sorry, I'm playing naive here, but
No,
fill me in.
that's fine. There's quite a few people. Some of them are like Jeffree Star, he's very glamour and really over the top with some of his makeup, but he's also fun to watch. He's just brilliant. But as far as trends and things go, it's like your Marie Claire and all those, Harper magazines and all those sort of things. They're the ones, and Vogue, they're the ones that sort of bring it in mostly. And you can see the trends coming through there. Local trends, you'll usually see at literally your local makeup store, that you'll see the new colour range come through for each season and stuff like that. And they'll have the palettes up, and they'll have the posters up with all the different new styles and things like that.
Yeah, okay. So there's enough out there that you can, you don't have to look too hard to get across it. Okay.
No.
And the other thing I was curious about, obviously, in an area of business that you're interested in, there's the world of sometimes products. So you've got access to lots, and you can review them, and do you find yourself in a position where you could recommend one product or another, as in it just, you see the benefit for the patient, I guess? Client, sorry.
Yeah, that's all good.
Depends on the side. Yeah, but for the client. So, and is that something that you are incorporating into your business, or it's just part of it? Yeah.
Absolutely. It's actually good to have 2 to 3, and it's hard, 2 to 3 different types of or brands of skincare and ranges, because not one suits everybody. So you sort of have one for a certain age, one for a certain type of skin, and then usually one for the younger ones as well. So you've got your 2 main ones, and that would be your anti-aging, and then the one that treats it for like rosacea, psoriasis, eczema and stuff like that. And then you've got your younger one, which is the one for, pimples or blackheads, or just a new skin coming through, and it's really oily, when they're transitioning in their teenagers and things like that, from puberty coming through. It usually goes a little haywire for a few years, and that helps to keep it under control. And then the anti-aging you've got so many to choose from these days. It's just unbelievable.
That's what I was wondering. Is that type of thing where you have to be a little bit skeptical? I mean, you can test everything and probably decide for yourself, but is it fair to say that in any industry, sometimes people just jump in and they just want to sell a product?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
They do. The best way to do it is actually read the ingredients and know the ingredients and know what those ingredients are going to do. Because if you can't read the ingredients on there and understand what they're doing, you're not going to know whether that's going to help your skin or not. And you don't know what demographic age that's going to help either, or what type of skin that's going to help, or what, whether it's going to be clinical or just, superficial. So yeah, you really need to know your ingredients in your skincare to know what it's going to do.
That's great. I think that's going to actually be very helpful from even just the everyday consumer out there, male, female, different age groups. And it's check the label, read the ingredients.
Absolutely.
And perhaps do your own research to see. It doesn't hurt to be informed, does it?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. And you can Google. You will find some good sites that have got the ingredients, and they'll tell you what it is for and how it works and how far it will go into the skin and things like that. So you will be able to actually work out what the ingredients are and how they're going to help, and whether it's going to be suitable for your skin.
That's excellent. Well, look, Lindy, that was really, really helpful. I'll just mention the name again. It's Purple Door Beauty, and the website purpledoorbeauty.com.au. Yeah. That's right. Really appreciate you coming on and sharing some of those interesting perspectives about the industry, and I'd love to have you back anytime.
Thank you very much for inviting me. It's been a pleasure.
All right, wonderful.